With that, we can bring in Laura Blumenfeld. She's a senior fellow at Johns Hopkins School for Advanced International Studies, a best-selling author and Middle East analyst in Washington, D.C. Laura, great to have you with us. Benjamin Netanyahu is calling this a turning point for Israel. Do you think he's right?
Well, it's interesting. He called this operation to eliminate Nasrallah Operation New Order, and it is certainly his goal to reorder the Middle East. The way he's seen it, over the past decade or longer, Iran has created a ring of fire around him with their proxies, and what he's trying to do is if not go to the head of the snake, as he calls the supreme leader in Iran, then certainly some of the tentacles that are reaching out from Iran. And by striking at Nasrallah, that's a way, a long way toward achieving that goal. I also think he's sort of flexing at Saudi Arabia and showing that if he can align himself with Saudi Arabia and the moderate Arab states, that would provide a nice counterpoint, an important counterweight to Iran and its anti-West, anti-Israel, and anti-United States coalition.
Laura, you talk about the head of the snake, and it makes me think of this chain of command situation we have now. What state is Hezbollah in right now with its leader and many top commanders gone? Is it still in a position to organise and execute an attack on Israel?
I mean, that is the key question. Israelis, intelligence officials who I've been hearing from have been talking about the chaos and disarray among the Hezbollah leadership, if there's any left at all. The danger now is it's a race toward the stockpiles that perhaps whoever is left there in command will, have a kind of use it or lose it attitude toward those missiles, which are aimed at Israeli population centers. And Israel, on the other hand, is going to try to destroy them before they're deployed against them. That could escalate. That could cause a really dangerous escalation where Israel might feel like they need to move in a kind of ground operation, whether it's limited or all out, which is exactly what the United States and other powers are trying to avoid. I think the two key concerns for the United States tonight are preventing an Israeli ground incursion and also preventing an Iranian retaliation. That's where the whole thing could blow.
Yep, so we're talking about next moves. What do you think Israel's next move will be? Do you think a ground offensive is likely?
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with what sort of flies through the night skies over the next couple of days. Is Tel Aviv under threat? Are they firing weapons? Missiles landed just short of Jerusalem, which is, nearly unprecedented. The Houthis from the south present also a kind of threat. So I think it's a little bit of a wait and see. Netanyahu is feeling pretty good now. He's kind of reasserting himself. He took that first blow on October 7th. And with this kind of pummeling of Hezbollah over the last days and weeks, he can say, with some confidence that Israel is on top again, which was his goal. Yesterday, Israel declared that the IDF had defeated the military wing of Hamas down in Gaza. Those are all conditions which set the ground for a ceasefire, which is what the United States has been pursuing now for months. Sinwar, who's the leader of Hamas, can no longer rely on Hassan Nasrallah up in Lebanon to help him out and pitch in with this kind of ring of fire assault on Israel, which, according to Netanyahu, means that they could be closer to a hostage deal, which is the key to unlock the region toward peace.
Laura, you spoke a little bit about what we think the US wants. Joe Biden spoke about Nasrallah's death being a measure of justice. How great do you think the concern is in Washington about what happens next?
Well, look, a word about that, measure of justice. There are people celebrating, from Syrians who felt like Nasrallah had supported Assad in his crushing repression of Syrian civilians. Hundreds of thousands of Syrians were killed, all the way to Buenos Aires, where they're celebrating because a Jewish community center had been blown up by Hezbollah forces backed by Iran all the way back to 1994. So there's broad kind of international support, not a lot of tears being shed for Hassan Nasrallah. That said, the United States has always been pushing for the diplomatic approach rather than military escalation. This is a fascinating test of an Israeli approach, which is to escalate in order to de-escalate, kind of take everyone to the brink. And there are a lot of white knuckles in Washington and beyond tonight, and see if that can actually bring you over the edge toward a better tomorrow. it's a big risk, but Israel's back has been to the wall. Iran said this was very short-sighted of Israel. I would say when what you see right in front of your eyes is annihilation, which is what Israel saw after October 7th, then you might take some sort of risks and take a short-sighted approach.
Laura Blumenfeld, all eyes in the region. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.